Aloha Kohala. It is June 22nd, 2022. It's 2:59. You're listening to KNKRLP 96.1 FM Kohala. This is Eila Allgood with
Michál Anna.
And we are here to do Intuitive Talk Story. Fresh and new today. So we're 06222022. Love those 22s.
Love all the 222s. And we've just come on the back of the summer solstice yesterday. And I'm sure many of you have been experiencing that and activating in this time. Hopefully purging and releasing all that doesn't serve, fine-tuning those mind stockings, and releasing anything else that you're given the opportunity to release, because now is the time to do that. It feels that we had a big push in the last equinox, which we kind of talked about.
Yeah.
And then here we are again at summer solstice. And yes, a lot is moving, and a lot of people expressing that this week leading up to it with the full moon was rather activated, rather tumultuous. Some people, clients, expressed a lot of emotion coming up this week, lots of things in the air and within the self, ready to really be released, ready to really come to the surface. And that's kind of, I feel like, what this time we're in. We're like, if we pull, we go, oh, we got to pull that thing out of the ocean, that thing, we grab it, we start grabbing it, and it's got tendrils. Ooh, lots of, I got to pull the whole thing up to get it out. So we're pulling up all those dark places that have been under the water for quite a while and releasing them out and purging them and shining the light, right? And looking at it and being unafraid to meet ourselves in a greater capacity.
Well, let's kind of look at that, like what that is and what that means, because I kind of feel like I'm in it today. So I feel like I'm so close in it that I can't, when you're so close to something, you can't see it. Yes. Where when you pull back and look at from another perspective, then it's like, oh, that's so evident. So I'm having a hard time seeing it, and you are coming from another perspective. So share a little bit about what that broader view looks like.
Well, you can think about it. We get tunnel visioned a lot we get activated on a detail. Well, you said such and such. Let's say it's a person. You said this, but you said this. We're getting very stuck on a detail versus looking at the bigger energy. Let's say my friend is, she's got a problem that's going on. She needs an ear and a hand to listen, but she's saying all these things, and maybe I'm not liking how quickly she's talking, or you're going so fast. Can you slow down? You're so emotional. I'm getting bothered by that.
Right.
So that's something in me that's triggering.
That's getting triggered.
That's getting triggered by me being bothered by her being fast or whatever it's going on, right? So I can first go, that's something in me. Okay, so now but what we want to, a lot of times we want to blame, the other person. It's them, and we want to get stuck on something and tell about it. But instead, if we let go and we look at the bigger picture, oh, my friend's actually in need. She's not going to say it all the way perfect. She's kind of going to fumble. That's all right. Let me just embrace and give her a hug.
Right.
And just be there for her and not get stuck on the details. That's
not take it personally.
And not take it personal, because it's really not personal. It's easy to see when someone's not talking about you. When it's about you and it's in your own, like a relationship or something, it can be much harder to differentiate those it's not personal feelings. But ultimately, like we spoke about on our 4 Agreements show, which is gold. I love that show. Taking nothing personal is number one. It's critical because nothing is personal. Even when someone's yelling at you and they're having a whatever moment, it's still not personal. Someone treated them that way, and then that's how
they're having their own experience.
Exactly.
And they're projecting it or taking it out on you, but that doesn't mean it's about you.
Right. Their delivery or the whatever might be happening is just about their own journey.
Right.
And if we can move into a wider perspective and go, oh, this isn't just about me. Everybody's on their own journey. They're all dealing with their own past issues, wounding, traumas, and how can I reach in and be more loving? So ultimately, I think as beings that, I have committed to be on the path of committed to source energy. And so when you commit to that, and I think many of you are on that path that are listening, that we decide then we want to always reach in. It's my job to always go back to divine love, to find that in myself and find that place where I can become zero energy. There's no charge for me going on, and I can just be love. So if there's a charge on any level for me, then that's something that's still left inside of me that I need to heal. So part of it is releasing the external situation and realizing, back to, there's nobody out there.
Yeah.
That's hard to do when you're in situations, but if you can see that, wow, everything's just a mirror reflecting to me my own stuff that I can't really get to. If I'm willing to understand that, then I'm going, okay, thanks for that. Boy, you just showed me I got some stuff that I could not get to. And now I'm right here. So hey, right then is when you want to start that dialogue with your inner child. Say, yo, hi, what's happening here? Where is this coming from? Why am I feeling this way? Where is this really coming from? And often your inner child, if you allow yourself to go into like a meditative state, kind of drop in, breathe, and ask and listen, connect to source, connect to the earth, you will often get an answer, which your little girl or inner child will show you like a memory or show you a time where this was a wound that got set in, and you know, or say something to you like, you know, my dad never loved me like that, or I never got hugged like that, or whatever might have happened. So you are then giving your inner child what they need, because you're still 6, even though you understand a whole situation now in your present in life. You know, your mom's awesome, she's great. But when you were 6, you didn't understand why, you know, she shut the door in your face or whatever, right? And you took it in a whole different way at 6. You know, that you love your mom, she's great. But that little memory, perhaps, can still hold a charge for the 6-year-old, because the 6-year-old doesn't understand. So you're showing the 6-year-old, hey, this is what really happened, and see, she doesn't mean that, or she's coming from her own wound. She's just doing what somebody did to her. So why do we even give up our power to that, to anyone? So let's get our energy, my heart, my whatever energy's here, and release this memory so that I can move forward and have no more charge on a situation. So widening the view is really important. Getting centered, because the only way out is in. So you have to first, okay, if you can't widen the view, then just close your eyes. Like, if you're that in it, you have to go. People often make meditate, like, yeah, I got to meditate. Yeah, I got to do that. I got to set up my room.
Well, like, that's going to be, like, next year.
Later. All you have to do to, quote, unquote, meditate is close your eyes. Yeah. So literally when you're in it, if you can just make yourself, which is the hardest thing to do when you're in it, because nothing in you will want to do that. Everything is like, no.
You want to play the tape.
You want to play the tape,
or
you want to go forget it and go do something else, and you know, just wash it away. Like, not look at it. But that goes back to our house. If we don't examine why, you know, the board fell off, then the board's going to fall off again, right? So we have to look at it and be willing, and our programming doesn't want us to do that. It doesn't want us to look at it, because that would mean you'd then understand it and remove it, see?
And not be triggered again by that particular thing, right?
Exactly. So everything wants to keep you from going in. So if you can remember, there's nobody out there. It's all me. It's all me. It's all me. What's my, even if it's 1%. Because, you know, you get down to the fine tune, it's 1%, but
it's
1%,
just a little bit
my
of
response
something.
is something.
Yes.
Something. So you find your 10, your 20, your 30, your 1%, my 100%, my 99%, whatever it is, you find that and you concentrate on that, because it's not about the other person.
Right.
It's about you humbling yourself to source, to your infinite creator, to infinite source light, and humbling and surrendering that which no longer serves us, giving it up to God and taking responsibility and forgiving ourselves and forgiving each other, because we've all been in a crazy game, which has been really harsh and very painful and very traumatic for every being here, practically. You know,
and at different times.
At different times, and their incarnations at different, whatever. We all have different stories. The point is, we're all one, and we're all, many of us,
we're all working it,
healing our trauma, and those that aren't still will be at some point. Like, it's a long
they might
river.
not be consciously doing it, but they may be doing it on some other level.
Exactly.
It's really not my business,
exactly.
Right?
Everyone's on their own journey in the river of life, and it's all just one river. So we give thanks for that and love one another and realize that we're all doing our best where we are. And sometimes our best, we all fall short in the grace of God, right? We aren't going to do it right all the time, but we have to be, the more compassionate we can be with other people, the more compassionate then we get to be with ourselves, right? Because we're ultimately just really hard on ourselves.
Right.
So that's usually what's happening is we're quick with people because we're quick with ourselves.
Right.
So we want to draw into compassionate embrace that helps us push through resistance. So first, close your eyes, go within, breathe, and the breath. Take a longer. I talked about this yesterday. Take a longer out breath than your first initial breath. Just helps to draw your parasympathetic system to kind of draw down. And you want to then draw into, like, if you put your hands on your body, which I've talked about a lot, and just ask your little girl, like on your chest, on your abdomen, or your little boy, like, hey, what's happening here? Where's this from? So then you can kind of draw into that energy if you're able to find something there. And I have a great video on that, Releasing Trauma, Reclaiming Your Power. It talks more in detail about that on my channel, Michál Anna, if you are interested. But that's a great process. And the other one is if that's all too much, you're like, I can't do that, then just try to widen your view. Okay, even just look around yourself. Okay, there's curtains over there. They got pink flowers on them. That writing is yellow. There's CDs on the wall. You just start getting present with what's in your field and beginning to take your mind into another neutral place so that you can neutrally begin to look at whatever it is you're dealing with. And then you really want to tell yourself, go wide. Okay, take a wide. And then I like to do things like tell yourself things about yourself, so that you help yourself remember. Like, I'm an infinite being. Okay, wait, I'm a co-creator. I'm a divine being of light. I'm love. Like, you start affirming the things that you need to empower you to remember the truth and to get back into gratitude. Gratitude's a great one.
So that you're really not
faster.
in that place of victim or blame or whatever the vibration is of what we're talking about. That as you go to gratitude and you go to the qualities about yourself that are, magnificent, that it lifts you so that you start to see that situation or whatever has affected you in a different vibration, different light.
From a higher perspective. Which then allows you to, if you're in a higher perspective, now you're being more of okay, if I'm in my love vibration or I get higher up, then I'm more willing to understand. I'm more willing to seek to find my part. Okay, I'm a divine being. What's my part? Even if I don't want to, right? Even if I'm kicking and screaming in myself, like, I don't want to do it. But what's my part? Sometimes it feels like that when you get to some of these. It feels like, I don't want you. But
it's the little child in us that just wants it to go away or wants to stay in blame or doesn't want to. I just don't want to, mommy.
Right, but when we push through that resistance, we find the pearls.
Yeah.
And we can see that bigger perspective. So we get into as much neutrality as we can so that we can then have a wide view and look at something objectively and go, okay, ask, what's my part? Because when we focus on ourselves, it begins to be clearer. When we're focused on someone else, it's really hard to see anything. But when we focus back to me, like, okay, forget them. What did I do? How did I create this situation? And it might have just been, I chose the wrong timing. I didn't bring it up at the right time. Maybe it went haywire and it was crazy later. None of that was me. But I didn't pick the right timing. That's something I could do better. And then maybe I engaged. Maybe I kept going myself. Right? I can see that. Could have stopped
that's a good
there.
point. Like, maybe the timing isn't right to address something. So how can we park it without feeding it and making it more of a drama than it is, or even going to that bigger perspective, because we don't have time right now. Like, there's something else that needs our attention. But we could park it and say, I am going to look at this later. I know there's a bigger picture here.
That's right.
And just by saying that, you've already moved to another place.
Hugely. If you can park it, then you've already moved to a huge place, which is releasing the emotion for now, putting it to the side. Like, let's say you and I had an argument. Yeah. And go, okay, Eila, we don't have time for this right now. Let's put it to the side. We're going to talk about it tonight.
Right.
We'll make an agreement to do that. And then let's just enjoy because we have people
we
coming.
Have other things going,
happening.
Right.
Let's just enjoy that. We'll get to that, okay? And the ability to put that to the side, release your own emotion, then walk in love with you.
Yeah.
Is a really
you've already evolved to something.
You've already done a lot if you're able to do that. If you're not able to do that, it's okay, because a lot of times one is not able to do that in the moment. But that is the goal: is to be able to park it and then look at it, and that's about agreement. See, the more we know that we have an agreement. If Eila feels like, well, I really need to tell you something. She knows I've made an agreement. Well, we're going to talk about it tonight at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Now she and I, we have an agreement, which gives us both peace of mind that it will get resolved, right? We're not going to not resolve it or address it, but that it's not the appropriate time to do so.
Right.
And that means I am now taking charge of my vessel and authority over my own self enough to go, I release all the energies that I was just feeling. I let all that go. I'm going to have resolution and be able to speak my heart about that later. I put that to the side and I allow myself to come back into 0 point energy, into neutrality. And that might then mean I need to sing a song. Maybe I need to run around. Maybe I need to lay down for 10 minutes. Yeah. Whatever works for you, meditate, go for a quick swim. Whatever gets you back into like, whew, okay, that's me. Yes, give thanks.
To be present in this moment.
Giving gratitude.
Knowing we can deal with that later.
Right.
It's not getting pushed under the rug.
Nope. You're going to give it attention. So you're making, the more we're clear about agreements, then the easier it is to do these things. Because when we talk to each other in a way that goes, no, I don't want to hear it, or, forget it. But wait. Now I don't have an agreement. There's no resolution. Now the person who's got the needy thing going anyway, which is that's the coming from wound anyway, coming from somewhere of I'm not seen, I'm not heard, I'm not valued, I'm not feeling worthy. So if we're really friends and we want to rise above, we want to help one another move through those wounds, not inflame them.
Right.
So we want to go, oh, you're in wound right now. How about this? Let's make an agreement. We're going to talk about it later. See, that's how that alleviates feeling anxious or like I'm never heard. I can't say anything or whatever might be happening.
Yeah.
Right? So
whatever your story is.
Whatever the story.
And we all have our different stories based on who we are, how we've moved through the world, what our relationships have been like in the past. One of the things that came up for me while you were talking was that sometimes the trigger, whatever's gotten triggered, maybe I can't get to the old story of when I was 6 and this happened. And is that really, is that a have to, or is that more like it's nice if you get a reason for the reaction that you have? It just seems more important to me that you notice the reaction you have and you're willing to get centered and go within and get that broader perspective so that you can release and move forward, not sweeping it under the rug. You know what I mean? Like
I do.
Sometimes we can't get to it. Maybe it's from a past life.
Well, I will say this though, that I think what you're saying is absolutely true. Totally. It's important to first, but the thing is, once you're willing to recognize it and see it and become aware, you will see where the root is. That's been my experience. The more awareness you bring to something and the more you ask about it, like I want to know where that's from and I want to pull it out because I garden and I know that I can cut that weed a million times, but guess what? It's going to come back.
Right.
Unless I pull it from the root.
Yeah.
So there's a root for everything.
Right.
It's all outside and it shows us really clearly. So we have to pull from the root. But the more awareness I bring to that plant, the more I'm like, I got you. I'm watching you. I know what your game is. Now I'm finding the root because I'm drawing my attention and I'm willing to see the pink elephant in the room that I couldn't see before. The more I bring my willingness to that, the more I will see. because back to, is seeing believing or is believing seeing, right?
Right.
So the more I'm willing to see, the more I see, really, right? So that's what we're doing. And so you will see the roots. And I do see like the roots of, I just actually pulled a root past life thing the other day for myself.
Yeah.
That I was like, wow, awesome. And it was very vibrant. And it was a root of an old program that was like, wow, I see where that came from. Thank you. And I've been working on that program through this lifetime.
Right.
And I had pulled all the ones from this life, but it wasn't from this life.
Right.
It was from a further life. But I was continuing to draw into it. Like every time, I just did that thing again. Okay, I really want to stop. I'm really open and ready to receive this healing. Please show me where this is coming from. So I would get more pieces a little at a time. I saw that some of it was coming from blame, like an energy of blame. Like, okay, what's blame coming from? So I found then back to this place, I was shown the vision of where that came in. And I was able to release basically your own self energy is stuck inside of a past life. It's still experiencing the past life as if it's happening now. And so when something looks like something that happened then, it activates the memory deep within you of the programming from then. So you're actually freeing your inner self from that lifetime, forgiving yourself, forgiving anyone else that was in the energy or in the picture, and releasing, letting it go, like seeing yourself kind of go to the other side of the veil from that lifetime. So that you're actually, and I loved this phrase, I think I might have mentioned it last time, pixelate, which
Yes,
you
you
literally
did.
pixelate the vision, because it's like, it's all like, think of a computer, and most people have pretty good imaging with computers these days.
Right.
So just imagine it going,
Yeah.
and you're just releasing that whole story, and your spirit, your essence that was experiencing that trauma is going free to the light, and you just like, it's allowing go home. So that energy in that lifetime is zeroed out, and you're bringing your energy to this life. So I'm here now completely, and I'm not activating a root from a past life or a past trauma. See, when you be here now, what does that mean? It means to be here fully now, means all the pieces of ourselves, we've drawn everything back into zero. So I am that I am, and I am here now.
Well, what do you say after all that? There is this need to be curious about what's going on, whether we're triggered in a very positive way or not positive way. It's the curiosity of, wow, why was that so impactful to me?
Curious versus judging. And that's a really great word. You're at curious, because people can tend to, it can take it, if your programming is about doing something bad, or if your programming is not being worthy or good enough, then that can feel like judgment. Like, oh no, you're judging me to look at this. It can feel like it's a judgment instead of a curiosity of like, no, how can we make it better?
Yeah.
So it's more like we get excited about solutions.
Right.
We get excited that we're
excited.
creating solutions.
How about excited at the opportunity to
heal.
learn something about yourself, and maybe not be triggered by that thing
not
again.
have to deal with it anymore.
Wow, isn't that fun?
You mean I can let that go, and I could just not be in my reality?
That
would
won't
be cool.
Part of my future self is to be triggered by that somebody makes a comment a particular way, someone looks at you a particular way, that it just doesn't trigger anything.
Did you say sissy? Did you call me a sissy? I mean, do you really want to be ruled by that? Is that really going to be your thing? Right?
Yeah, the other day, it's so funny. I was talking to somebody about, this store idea, and it's a very kind of, anyway, they used the term, it's a woo-woo store, and I took it very negatively, and I'm like, how dare you call it a woo-woo store, right? And then I started thinking about it, because a friend of mine put that on his website, that he does woo-woo healings, and this guy does a lot of this is his whole career, is helping people get well and energy work. And I thought, well, maybe I need to take that term back rather than finding offense in it. It's kind of like, anyway, and then I started to play with that. What if woo-woo was like fun? Like, let's say it's a woo-woo store. Like, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And it shifted it. So whatever the charge was isn't going to be a charge anymore. I guess it's also like people who have received derogatory terms at themselves, that they turn around and they use that term because it's empowering. It's like, oh no, I'm going to use that. Oh, I got goosies on that. I'm going to use that term because I want to. And when someone else says it, it's not going to have that negative impact. I'm changing the whole vibration of it.
Yeah, of the energy of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great story. I love it. Woo, woo.
Woo, woo.
Woo, woo, woo. It could be about so many things.
But yeah, so, I mean, because we talk a lot of woo-woo stuff here. I mean, so it's all good.
Well, and it's all about perception. To me, I hear you on the like woo-woo, because to me, none of it's woo-woo. It's just what is.
Yeah.
But that goes back to like perceptions of miracles. To me, miracles are something that happen every day, whereas so they're not really miracles. It's foundational, like that's what we're able to do, to walk in if we choose.
Yeah.
And believe.
It doesn't
and
have to
open.
be
It doesn't have to be
so
such
far out there.
Yeah, like a miracle. It can just be
Yeah.
that's the way it is. Magic happens all the time. Life is responding to us and co-creating with us all the time.
Yeah.
And if we put that as a foundational knowledge, well then perception of miracles doesn't actually apply anymore. You're like, oh, that's just the way it is, and life is that way, and let us co-create with one another. So when we see something differently, we're able to change the whole story.
Well, and that brings up something very positive to me, which is the concept of miracle and bringing that into your day-to-day life, where it isn't something that happens maybe once in a lifetime. It's actually something that you can manifest on a regular basis based on who you are and how you move through the world and how you clean up the things that are messy and look at things about yourself and honor them, not judge them, be curious about them, and bring the energy of magic into your life on a regular basis. So things, synchronicities happen and things fall into place in your life. That's kind of wonderful.
It's absolutely wonderful. And it's what we talk about all the time, getting into vibrational alignment. Like we're really, as we move up the vibrational ladder, it's all vibration frequency.
It's all vibration.
So we're literally, wherever we're vibrating is what where we're creating. So we want to move up the vibrational ladder, and that's why we're healing our wounds, because, my wounding keeps me in the vibration of shame, fear. I've been in all those. Shame is the darkest, deepest one. It was not fun. Shame is ucky and feels like molasses in the bottom of a well. But that's the journey, right? Is to move ourselves up that ladder and be willing to look at what we're standing in, to look at it, and to, sometimes, face on the floor, humble ourselves to infinite creator, and just, yes, I'm willing to see this. I forgive myself. I forgive everybody else. It's not, those places aren't fun or easy, but they allow us. We push through our resistance and we come into this other place.
Creative.
It's kind of like when you play a video game, right? Like level 1, it gets harder as you go. But when you push through that level, you're like, it's me. I got the bonus. I got a thing. I'm like, what? Ding, ding. I got extra points. I got a shield. You get, every time we level up, we get some new tools. We get some new things. All right, now that's not there anymore, but now I get to look at this.
And it also gets more familiar. I mean, comparing it to a game, even though the next level is different, there's some thread of familiarity that helps you to continue, and it's not as hard maybe as it was last time.
Well, you have you gain tools as if you've actually leveled up. You're going up a spiral. So you level up. You're like kicking. I'm going back by that same picture up the spiral. Oh, but wait, different level. Oh, but I actually got all the way around it. And there's like a moment of like, you feel this plateau and like, this feels happy, joyful. I've arrived. Everything's golden. And then the next lesson starts and then you start up the next spiral
Right.
to the next level.
Right, and
Well,
that's
just
life.
unity.
Life
Yeah,
just
right.
continues to do that.
These,
Right.
Yeah, we
The
don't
other
we
day
don't
I
really
was
arrive
sitting,
anywhere and
with
say,
little
that's
Tacoma
it, I'm
story,
done, I can just
and
coast for 20
he was
years.
sitting on the bed.
Not-
that I
not
just
in this
slept on, and
form.
it was now
Well,
gonna be his
let's
new
say
bed.
that's not what I want
And
to
I
do.
said,
Right.
Oh,
no.
Tacoma,
Like
that's somebody
well,
else
if you're
does.
here,
That
if
bed,
we're,
I
in the,
slept on
if
that
we're
bed. It has
incarnate
grandma
here on the
energy
earth
on
and
it.
we're learning,
And he
loving,
looked
growing,
at me and he says,
expanding.
and it has
You know,
Tacoma
we're
energy.
embodying those. That's
And I thought,
kind of
oh
why
my
we're in
God,
Earth
how
School,
wise
right?
these little
Yes.
Think of it
people
that way
are.
too.
Like-
And so we're learning to
he's
embody
part
a
of
greater
that. It
love
wasn't
and know
just about
ourselves, and then
what
move
I
into
was
greater
leaving
compassion. And
him.
that's kind of
It
the
was,
next
no,
phase
this
we
is
get to go
my
into
bed
as we
and
build
my
this.
energy.
That's
I
why
like
this.
that.
Why the
There's something
release?
about that
Let's
that-
release everything so we can all sit
I
as
know, seemed a little
co-creators at
wise
the
for a
table
little
of
guy.
creation here
Well,
in our
and there you-
community, in
just
each
that statement
community,
you just
and
said
co-create
is
the
actually
place
like,
and
why would we
the
say that
energy and the
seems wise
vibration that
for
we
a
all
little
want to
guy?
live in
I actually find
together.
was wise.
So if I'm wanting and
Yeah.
resonating
See,
in
I
peace and
think-
love,
I
and
think
you're
if it's
wanting and
opposite, I
resonating
think
in
most
peace and
kids
love,
are far
then-
wiser
and
than
I want to
adults.
take care of
That's
what's
why I
around me,
hang
and
out
you
with
want
kids.
to take care of
Yeah,
what's
'cause they
around
don't
you.
think.
Yeah, and
then we come
adults
together. It's
often
easy for us to
treat
care
kids like
for one another
kids.
and
They
care
are,
for what's
"Oh,
around us
look at
because
you,
I
aren't you
know
so
I am
cute?"
you
Yeah.
And they
and you
talk
are
to
me.
them that way.
It's all
Yeah,
one
yeah.
thing. So
I
I'm
talk to
caring
them like
for
they're
another. I am
souls,
caring
'cause
for
they are.
myself.
They're just really
you know,
amazing.
and vice
These
versa.
kids
And
come in
caring
and
for
they're
myself.
I'm
amazing.
caring for others.
They're
Because if I don't care for
activated
myself and I'm not
warrior
in my best,
souls.
then
They
I
are here
can't
to
care for
build a
you
new earth
as best
to
as I
create a
could.
new tomorrow.
So
they are
we
super
are
dynamic and
always
they just
giving
need, like,
ourselves
permission to
that
use their
energy
own
and
brains
allowing
and tools.
Welcome back, and I want to apologize for playing two things at the same time. I didn't have my headphones on, and I didn't realize our old show was playing while I was playing new things. So forgive me for that.
It happens.
We have a caller. Are you there?
Yes,
Hi. This is Peter.
yes, Peter in Colorado. Aloha, everybody.
Aloha.
Aloha, Peter.
I just had a woo-woo comment since you were mentioning it. We were listening to your show, Eila, on Monday, and when you said the woo-woo thing, we were kind of chuckling, and we started saying, woo-woo, woo-hoo, woo. And I was saying, oh, I should call in and say that to her. So I am now. Woo-woo, woo-hoo, woo.
I love that. Thank you so much.
I love it. And that to me sounds like you're riding a wave. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
Yep, uh-huh.
Party
Yep,
wave.
you had us going.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
beautiful.
Do you have any questions for us today, Peter?
No, not really.
No?
Just wanted to make that comment because you were saying about the woohoo, and
Yeah.
I think you have a good idea there.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I will definitely build on that. That sounds fun.
Have a
Okay,
beautiful
aloha.
day, Peter.
Have a beautiful
Aloha.
day. Aloha. Well, that was fun. You never know who's listening out there.
Yep, we love when you call in. It's
Yeah.
so fun for us.
It
So
sure
please
is.
call.
Yeah, please call 808-884-5657, 808-884-5657. This is Intuitive Talk Story, if you just tuned in, with Eila Allgood, and
Michál, Anna.
we've been talking. Let's do a little recap. We've talked about an awful lot
We
in this
have.
first half an hour. So we were talking a lot about being triggered,
Mm-hmm.
and why maybe we don't, why we want to get to the root of being triggered so that we can not be triggered in the future. And why do we not want to be triggered in the future?
Because we want to embody the vibrational resonance that's going to bring us into harmony, love,
Yeah.
light, joy, ecstasy, peace, so we can experience that daily. And if I'm committed to that and you're committed to that, and gosh, imagine if a lot of people, imagine we're all committed to that.
Yeah.
Now what kind of world do we get to build? We get to build this new earth based in a resonance of harmony, based in knowingness that I am you and you are me. So there's no hierarchy. It becomes a co-creative adventure of creating what's in the highest good for all. That ultimately, to me, is the goal that we
That's amazing.
get to do
And-
here on this earth at
Yeah.
this time. And
it's at this time
At this
because
time.
there's so much happening right now for us.
we are truly, to get a little woo-woo on you, we are truly at the end of the cycle. I mean, this is the Ascension time. People call it, if you don't know what that means, basically it just means from my perspective, that the 26,550-year cycle has ended that we have been in this planet. It is the opportunity to purge all stories, all things. We're in kind of a neutral purging state through all this right now, where you getting to like discard whatever you want, get through it all, and then the opportunity is to move into greater harmony and move into fifth dimensional freedom, which we've talked about before.
Yeah.
Move into this other higher vibrational world where we are all working towards greater harmony and compassion, right? And that is a learning in that next level for all of us, is how to have more compassion with one another, how to deepen into that, how to care at a greater capacity, and how to build systems that are co-creative and in harmony with all of life.
And it's a place where there's just more joy and more, there's still ups and downs. The way I see it is there's still ups and downs, but it's from a place of love and harmony versus them versus us, or it's separation. We're together and we're working together. And so there's still this sense where, well, you still have sadness and you still have loss and you still have grief. However, it's from this deeper perspective and understanding where it isn't so debilitating to have those experiences and those feelings. That there's still this joy that's permeates through everything.
Right. Because and ultimately, because there is no real death in that way. If you're loss and grief, although yes, we lose. I mean, I miss my grandpa all the time.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I know he's not gone. Like, he's not dead. I know that his energy, his life force, his soul lives forward. And I don't know, maybe I will see him again. And I have seen him again, because I think I've seen him many times. So
and even if it's not the loss of where someone dies, we feel loss when somebody moves to another place, or someone moves in another way where they're not in our day-to-day life anymore.
Oh, we just moved chapters in our book.
Yeah, and now we're in this chapter, and we don't need to talk to those people anymore. So we can feel loss about that, or we can see this kind of grander picture where, well, if those things didn't happen, I mean, just think of your own life, where if certain people didn't leave your life, certain people would not now be in your life, and you wouldn't be having certain experiences you're having now if you weren't able to let go of certain things from the past.
Absolutely. When I like to relate back to gratitude, I like to really look back, especially at things that were horrible, and give thanks for the lessons I learned, and give thanks for what reflections I saw, even if it was a bad situation, like be able to see that, because if I can move into gratitude, then I really am shifting. I'm creating a different vibration, and I'm honoring actually that situation. It's not necessarily now. It's not a loss. It's actually part of how I got here, right? It becomes part of your story.
It's part of this movie.
It's a movie that I'm in, and I got here because I had that experience.
Right.
So it gave me the opportunity to go to hell and get my stuff. Thank you. Thank you for that. And I got it. Yay.
Yeah.
So whatever that is, if we shift the perspective and realize that back to the game, if we see, it depends where you're looking from. So all the time, like loss and grief feels different if you're looking at it from a game perspective. Like, ooh, because if nothing's really, we're not, like, imagine we're all just on the other side of the veil, it's a whole different game. And it's just kind of like you're in here and it's a game. Can you figure it out?
Right.
Can you figure it out? I'll see you on the other side either way. But it's kind of like, if you think of it like that, it takes a lot of charge out of a lot of things. So if you're able to just see something from another perspective. So, and this is kind of gets into tricking your mind, like.
Yeah, I have a question about that.
Leading your mind to where you want it to go.
So let me go to a story, because that works for me.
Yeah.
When I was in New York a while ago, well, not too long ago, I went to a place, the part of New York where I grew up, the first 30 years of my life I spent. And while I was riding on the highway, I had an extreme amount of memories and loss. Everything was loss, loss, loss. It's like, oh, that's where my mother died. Oh, that's where this happened. Oh, that. And I had never experienced it like that before there. And I hadn't lived there in a really long time, 30 years. So, and I was like, I don't ever want to go back there again because I don't want to have to go through that again. And I thought, well, maybe if I went back there with a different attitude, that wouldn't happen to me in the future. So it's because we do move from place to place, whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally. We move, and then maybe we revisit some place we've been before, and maybe there's some stuff that hasn't been dealt with, and that's what is coming up. It's really not about now. It's about some old woundings.
Exactly. And this is what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So it's a reflection to show you what's still wounding in me. Because if I, like as you were talking, I was kind of envisioning, like, let's say going to where, your mother died, I think you said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, imagining instead of my loss, imagining her life, like she lived here. This is what she did. She created all of this, and she used to take us here and do this. What an amazing woman. What an amazing life. What an amazing story. Like, if I go into honor for whatever I'm perceiving loss, or like what I gain, like if it's a job, you go, but look at all the things I learned from that. Look at all the things I embody now. I wouldn't have done that without that. So, wow, that's really great. And I go into gratitude. So honor and gratitude are two big ways, I think, to shift that kind of energy, because you're just thanking the experience. You're honoring, like a loss, you're just honoring somebody else. Like, instead of thinking of my part,
Right.
I'm thinking about her.
Right.
Like, what was her life? Like,
Right.
let's
Who
forget
was she?
me. Who
Yeah.
was she? And what did, look what she did.
Yeah.
Because especially with our family, we tend to just think of, like, that's my grandma.
Right.
But I've asked for many years, like, who's Loida? Loida
Right.
is my grandma.
Right. Who was grandma
Who
when
is
she?
Loida?
Yeah.
Like, who, like, her life. And
What was little grandma like?
Right.
What
And
was she like when she was a
seeing
kid?
her as a person in
Yes.
her story, in her
Yes.
movie, not affiliated with my movie, but just her own movie. But just
Yeah.
observing it and being in awe and thankful and honoring of, like, wow, it's beautiful. Like, just to see you and your story.
Yeah.
So when we take ourselves back, if we take ourselves out of something, it also gives us a different perspective, because we release our attachment to it.
Yeah. Well, and I have looked at different things like that through the perspective of, well, if I hadn't moved here, or this person hadn't moved there or died, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Right.
And I'm grateful to be where I am today.
Gratitude.
If everything had gone, swimmingly when I lived in this other place, and everyone was nice to me, and I didn't want to get the heck out of there because they weren't nice to me, I'd still be living there.
Right.
And I thought, I'm glad I'm not living there, because I've had so many experiences, and now I can go back there, and this is a different place. There is no charge. It's like, wow, it's a really nice place because I've moved on.
Well, you bring up a great point, which is humans don't often grow without some discomfort.
Yeah.
So see, because if it is easy and good, well, I'll just hang out.
Yeah.
Like, we don't, or, drive and pushing through. You're forced to do it.
Yeah.
Like, usually
because of a situation.
Because of something, because you're in what's around you is forcing you to learn.
Right.
Because you're in constant lessons, actually. You're in an earth school, you're in a video game, you're in your personal game, and it's always there if you want to learn it. But often we just keep doing it again and again, right? Until you decide to go, oh, this is a program, I'm in a loop, and I'm going to choose to, like, actually learn and do kind of all the stuff we just talked about.
Right.
Right. But yeah, it's kind of amazing how easy it is to shift how we perceive something by just where you're standing when you're looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah, your perspective. And the perspective we have, today about something that happened 10 years ago or yesterday is different than it was when we were in that moment.
Absolutely. And like what the process we talked about, picking up your energy, your pearls, like that when you were just at that place, for instance, you're in the place where that was, I'm like, closing your eyes and envisioning okay, is there anything of my energy in this room from my past, and bringing it back to myself because I'm activated here.
Yeah, I think I need to go do some pearl work on Long Island, New York, where I grew up, because I was triggered so many times there, because I had so many experiences, mostly positive, but it wasn't, for some reason, it wasn't a positive experience for me recently being there. So,
well, what's cool is you don't actually have to go back there to do it. You can do it here.
Oh,
now.
no, I won't physically go there. Yeah.
In your mind's
No,
eye.
no, it's like going into why is that triggering me now?
Absolutely.
Because I thought I worked through A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and maybe I did, but maybe there's just like you said, we're fine tuning now.
There's deeper aspects.
So there's some fine tuning that needs to happen.
And like we brought up, some of it may not be even from this life. Sometimes they're deeper things we came in with. They're things that we've been playing out for lifetimes. So back to I wanted to mention back to like kind of the cycle ending and what is that and why now and why get excited, because, well, the earth itself has chosen the divine masculine, feminine energy of this planet, which we are all divine masculine, feminine energy happening. So that choice is being made to come into union. So we all, as inhabitants, souls within the earth template, have the opportunity to move into alignment with what the earth itself is choosing, which is to come into a higher vibration and move out of these lower densities that have been filled with trauma and heal and move into higher levels. So as we make the choice to embody and release our own pain as a soul within this earth body template, we're lifting and helping the entire grid to move forward and ascend into higher levels of living. So what you do for yourself, it actually affects the entirety of the whole, because you are one piece of God. We're all one of the infinite. We're just like facets. And as we become whole, then we, and as I've spoken about before, like it's a hologram, as we collect all of our pieces, then my one small piece can reflect the entirety of the whole, as your one small piece can reflect the entirety of the whole. And now we're really just in unity. And so that's the opportunity that we all have to walk into at this time together, is to choose to let go and move into unity, where we're really awake as co-creative beings with this type of awareness on each day, navigating through your life and creating and co-creating magic together in the foundation of love. And that's really important, because there's a lot that glitters that's gold. So I want to stress that creating and manifesting, and I say with the words like, having your power, I don't mean being power. I don't mean the love of power. I mean the power of love. And
not power over. It's an empowerment for your...
no hierarchy involved in this concept. And power in this way is our own divine soul-given divine blueprint, is our own power.
Yeah, it's our energy,
God, of the infinite source that I am and that you are, that we were each given. And then we're peeling away the stuff that kind of got stuck on there.
Right. I see everybody has the same light, and then all of these lifetimes and this lifetime, it kind of gets mucked up. And we're clearing that away, whether it's peeling back layers or whatever words you want to use to clear it up. That's what we're doing. We're clearing it. And then at the core, we all have this divine light that we all are. And then we connect that to one another on the grid that you're talking about. I was just listening to something talking about a crystalline grid. And and as a species, we evolve. And we're evolving, we're all evolving.
Right.
And I think maybe some people are a little more conscious about that evolution and that work than others. But it's all happening.
Right.
Yeah.
And wherever you are in that, wherever we are in that is great.
Yeah.
Just do our part, whatever your part is.
Honor who you are and
where
what
you
your
are.
place is.
Exactly. We're all none of us have the same job. We're all, here on our own journey. You're completely on your own mission, just like in that video game. I got controllers of my own controls, nobody else's, but I get to interact and connect and reflect. but then I have to take that information and apply it to my own game and know that as I win the game for myself, I'm actually winning the game for everyone, just as everybody else is winning the game for everyone. As we're becoming more into unity, we're bringing everything back into wholeness.
And as you were talking about no hierarchy, there's also there's no one thing that's more important than the other. Every part of this is important. Everything that we do is important. So there was something that you said that made me think to say that. I think because you said my small part, and I thought, well, you know, that's...
But it's also a big part.
It's also a big part.
Yeah.
I think we all need to honor just where we are, and
well, we're all rock stars of our own world,
rock stars, yes.
And at the same time, take it all with a grain of salt.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, like keep the ego out of it. Yeah. We're our own movie star.
And that's what unity is that you can be amazing. Like, Eila, you are fantabulous. You're amazing. And Michál, you're like, oh, and so are you. And we can both just be vibrant, amazing, because we're all rock stars.
There's room for everybody. And
everybody
everything.
can be amazing and awesome. And it's not like just because you're amazing, then that means I'm not amazing. I don't have to have
that's an old program.
That's a very old stuff of competition and all that. Like, well, I should be doing more because she's got this.
Yeah.
That brings up I'm not good enough. And those are programs. So if that's activating, that's still programming. Judgment likes to hang out with that. Defense and offense like to hang out with those. Those are all programs.
Well, competition is a big...
peel away.
That's been a program for society for a long, long time.
Oh,
it's changing.
We play it on the TV all the time.
I mean, just based on our sports,
right?
Everything is about winning.
Football, actually, it shows you the game really well.
Yes, it does.
Hilarious.
Boom!
It's hilarious.
I was listening to something the other day, and it was talking about win-win, and that's what we want to be looking at life as, win-win, not about, oh, I won and you didn't win and you're going to lose. And I was playing a game the other day with somebody, and they just wanted to win at all costs. It was just about winning. It didn't matter that they were pounding on somebody to win. It was so obvious to me. And then I thought, well, this isn't just about them. So maybe there's some place that I'm doing that, where I'm thinking that winning is more important than fairness, than equity. You know, because when you play a game, everyone's at different levels, whatever the game is. So how can you play the game so everybody can participate, have a good time, regardless of the outcome?
Mm-hmm.
Not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Not easy, but it's very possible if you're conscious about it enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And recognizing that everyone's in different places and that no one's better than or worse than because they're at different levels.
Yeah.
We're all equal. It's just, and I love to think of all of that as time put in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we've just all put time into certain things. Like I've put a lot of time into doing healing work, and like something I've put time into, studied and learned. Someone else has put a lot of time into becoming, a surgeon.
Yeah.
Or a lawyer or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever we've learned and put time into. So if we, can shift into like, wow, we're all different parts of God. And well, Eila, what do you know? You must know a lot about that. I'd love to hear about it because you put time into it. Mm-hmm. I haven't. And I can't put time into everything.
Right.
I mean, I can't do everything. Right. I mean, come on. I mean, I can only, I'm only one person. So I can do what I can do. And then we can then, share.
Right.
And I get to get the cliff
Share
notes
your experiences
from you because you got a lot of info on that, and now you get the cliff notes from me. And we're like, great, thanks for the exchange.
Yeah.
Because we just can't all do it all. So we get to go. We're actually pulling from one another's knowledge and sharing and getting excited together. Versus what happens in wounding, right? Is that you get more triggered by people's knowledge. Right.
Well, that kind of goes to a big cultural thing for us here in Hawaii, which is talk story. Sharing through stories. We share a lot about who we are and how we've moved through the world through our stories.
We're helping to empower each other.
Yeah.
At the foundation of Hawaiian culture is values and traditions and caring for your people, sharing, being pono with each other.
Yes.
The aloha, which I'm sure most of you know out there, but just to say, again, when we do say aloha to one another, we're saying alo, to be with, ha, the breath.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to be with the breath of life with you. I'm honoring you and our shared breath. And often, you might honi or greet, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm willing to breathe with you. Aloha. Yeah. So just
And
that
now
remembrance.
And now that the experience that we've all had for the past few years is behind us.
Moving.
It's moving away. We can share that breath again without fear, because we've had a lot of that going in the vibration.
Yes, release all fear
Release
and
it.
then make sound, discerning choices based in love.
Based
So
in
the
love,
more
based,
neutral we
yes.
are, then we get to make a choice that's objective and is actually the truth of where we need to be versus from an emotion. And that really goes back to what we were saying, is having authority over your vessel at all times means I can control my emotions. Means I can go in and go, okay, I can make a choice, table something like we spoke of earlier.
Yeah.
I can make that choice. And that's, so we're getting to authority over the vessel where I'm the one making the choice and a program isn't choosing for me. That's why when we talked about the pearls, that's why we want to pick up the pearls, because the root activates the program without me. It can often take you over. So, and then you have to go back and think, oh God, look what I did. And remember, I went into that thing. But if you can stop that before it even happens by retrieving all of our energy. So that's why we want to do that, pull it from the root. And now we're just stalking the mind where that program used to always run down that road. I've talked about that a lot, the driveway.
The
so
rut.
The rut-it-out road. You're remaking it until it's smooth, but that takes a while, right? New decisions, thoughts each day. Nope, not making that choice, making this one. But then it's easy after that because our energy's here and it's not being drawn somewhere else.
Well, we are getting to the end of our show. It's 3:58, and I appreciate that you are here today and sharing your thoughts and your wisdom and your intuition with me and with everybody listening today.
Mahalo, Eila.
Yeah, and thanks to our caller, and thanks to all of you out there who listen and give us feedback. We appreciate it. And if you want us to focus on something at any point, let us know, and we will do that. Otherwise, we kind of dance in the moment of what's up.
What's up and alive. So happy summer solstice, or
Happy
the ending
summer,
of that.
yes.
And the releasing of all that doesn't serve and the embodiment of the amazing co-creative being that you are. And I'd like to kind of leave with that thought Eila was talking about with the light. It can't be, we all have the same light. It's just really that everything for all of us is like a bunch of stuff that's got stuck on top of us, trying to cover up the light. But you can't destroy the light. It can just be covered up with a bunch of stuff. So we're pulling all that stuff off so the light can just go, ah, and we just get to resonate in love together from that place.
Until next time, everybody, have a beautiful day, and we'll be back in a few weeks.
Yes.
Aloha.
Aloha.